Not attempt to adjust your computer, there is nothing wrong. We have taken control as to bring you this special show. The Mothership flies in cyberspace. We're glad you're joining us. My name is Dobie Maxwell, a.k.a. the King of Uranus, flanked by my intergalactic cohorts. To your left, to my right, Greg DeGuire, cosmic mutant with two... I was going to say urethras, but you don't have enough. Ureters. Something that starts with a U, and the doctor that touches you in weird places has to deal with. It's a weird thing.
That's true.
Also, our millennial falcon to keep the younger generation on, Carrie Turner, is with us. And I hope we have... This is Al, our intergalactic pal, as a matter of fact. We have I don't know how to say this without being corny and sappy. We have a very serious topic to talk about today. And it's not necessarily paranormal or something that we would talk about, but it is a human condition. As we are recording today's episode, the week of the shooting in Las Vegas. And it got to the point now, I think, where especially as Americans, it is hard to make anybody flinch anymore. It's hard to move the needle. Yeah. If it's, someone says, "Hey, 4 people got shot," oh, only 4, and I hate myself for saying that, but it really is true.
I saw something on Facebook. I think Oklahoma, 5 people got shot the day after.
Really?
Las Vegas, and nobody talked about it.
More importantly, does anyone know what happened that same day that nobody talked about?
Tom Petty died.
Not only that, something way bigger than that. Somebody got out and nobody talked about it.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Zero news story. Should have been a big one. Nobody talked.
I only saw one.
Well, anyway, I don't know what makes people flip like this to shoot. And I'm thinking, what number would it be to finally make your eyes bug out? I don't know how you guys were. It's like, now it's one of those things now, as the story develops, it hasn't been that long. It is one of the biggest stories I think I've ever seen. I went to sleep. I got up early, went back to sleep, got my phone, looked at it, and the thing that said, largest shooting in United States history, and then it said 50 people plus dead, and I think it was 200 at the time. 50 was the number. Wow. I was like, what would move the needle? It was 50.
I don't think that we talked about this when she came over today, before you got here. We did a little bit of talking, and I don't think that... Here it comes. I don't think that that's enough to move the needle. And from my point, I'll tell you why.
It's okay.
Because I'm watching the news shows, of which I've become a news show junkie ever since the hurricanes. It's a shame. And think about what you will, about whatever news show or news magazine show, whatever network, it's irrelevant. They're all talking about the same stuff. So, and I don't remember what state this guy's from, but he's from a southern state. There's always going to be the one southern senator. Sorry if you're from the South. I'm not trying to stereotype, but this is a fact. He kind of sounds like Colonel Sanders and Foghorn Leghorn. Nah, see here, nah, no one's going to take away my guns. Nah, see here, my constituency don't want that. Okay, so 50 wasn't enough. What's it going to take? No one's trying to take your guns away, but maybe you shouldn't have the full auto, which I think is illegal, but semi-automatic. Look, I know there's gun people out there. Why? Why do you need... We're not invaded by the British anymore. The zombie apocalypse is... now, hold on to your hats. It's only on television, right? It's not a real thing. So people always say, well, no matter what law you put in the books, it's not going to matter. So why bother having it? All right, let me throw one at you. Seatbelts. Seatbelts in this particular state has a law to wear. Not everybody wears them. That doesn't mean you take the law away. That's not how this works. So, freedom of speech. Well, Second Amendment says I have the right to bear arms. Okay, well, it's no different than any other amendment of the Constitution. It's not a special amendment. It's just an amendment. Same as free speech. Now, there's limits to free speech. That's okay. Someone wants to limit gun control. They're jumping off the cliff. What's the difference? Shouldn't free speech be more...
gun control. There's a lot of words that people are getting really sparky.
Right, so gun control, in my opinion, would be thus. You want to keep your handguns or your hunting rifles, more power to you. But anything that has the potential to go from semi-automatic to full automatic, such as your AR-15s, your Russian-made AK-47s, your Swedish firearms, there's a lot of them out there. Why? If you're going to collect these things, you should get a special collector's license, but never, ever, ever be able to purchase ammunition. You want to hang your M16 trophy from the Vietnam War era, you want to hang it on your wall, great. The firing pin and the ammo clip are cemented up. They're not usable. Keep it as a memento. My basement is full of mementos. I totally get it. But it shouldn't be used anymore. Keep it make it like a trophy deer. Stuff it and then look at it. Make it non-usable. If you want to have an AR-15, if you're an Army nut and like to have Army stuff, fine, have one. Firing pin's gone, clip is cemented up. You can't use it. But you can look at it and say, hey, isn't that's a cool piece of machinery? So, in my opinion, that would be a form of gun control.
Carrie, our millennial Falcon, your generation, you've seen a lot of stuff that a lot of generations have not. I mean, do you remember Columbine? Is that too early for you?
It was way too early. I was only 2 at the time. But I know I stopped by there as a kid with my family. We stopped at the memorial place for it. I'm with you, Greg. I don't think anybody should have a weapon that can take out as many people as you can in the least amount of minutes. And not to say that, people shouldn't have guns. We're just saying restrict it to that certain type.
Restrict it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and Australia did that. They had the biggest mass shooting in '96, if I heard right.
Heard about that.
I don't remember what that one was called. I saw it come up after this Las Vegas shooting. But ever since they, restricted gun control,
bullets on the Barbies.
Yeah.
I mean, you make jokes about it because I think it's a defense mechanism after a while.
Yeah.
And you talk to people, nobody seems to want to talk about it intelligently. It's always like, well, the policy of
that's what I hope we're coming across as
it's
right now.
Screaming. Everyone screams at each other. That if you want to take my guns away, then you're anti-pro-Trump. This is not a political debate. Trump has nothing to do with these events.
Then everybody wants to bring that in.
Whether or not he was president or not, these events may still happen.
They happen all the way through.
Exactly.
Obama's
so
and Bush's.
Don't make this into some kind of political knee-jerk outburst. That's not what this is about. It doesn't need to happen.
But now think about this. Okay, if we're gonna talk about this logically, which we're trying to do on the show. And I think that people are getting hurt. The original right to bear arms was against the government. Well, you're not going to go against the government. I don't care if you have an AK-47. They have tanks and drones, not even people, and airplanes and bombs, and they're a lot more powerful than us. So the times have changed. I think the context of the amendment has changed. I'm not trying to be a communist.
The context originally was for state militias. I mean, there was a number of different reasons for it in case the government got too big, if you wanted to uprise against it. But man, that was back in the...
When you could shoot one a minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're talking 250 plus years ago. The times have changed. I don't think we need... there's no such thing as a state militia anymore. That's not the National Guard. It's morphed into something else. You want to play with guns, join the Army. Join the National Guard. You can shoot anything the live long day. Go for it. You don't need it in your backyard.
Could there be a solution that we could all live with? Evidently not, because people are screaming at each other and protesting and spitting and yelling. It's violent.
It's going to take... Here it comes. I'm going to hate to say this. No. It's going to take a bigger number.
I don't think so.
I don't
think there is a number. Then if 50 didn't do it, then there isn't a number.
That's crazy.
I guess you're right. I hadn't considered that.
I mean, think about that. Okay, now then I hate you're going to bring race into it, which is not something.
This wasn't. This.
Yeah, this clearly wasn't about that.
No, but allegedly he had the killer had made an attempt to go to a rap show. Is there a similar situation?
Yeah, with Chance the Rapper and was it Life
I didn't
Fest?
even think that was a thing about race. Yeah. It was just the fact that he
allegedly
got another event that he was targeting.
He's tried to get an apartment that looked over Fenway Park.
That's what I heard.
So he tried different venues. This wasn't about race. This was about sheer numbers.
Yeah.
But if he would have gone after this rap show, we'd be in civil war right now.
There'd be martial law right now.
Yes, it would be, and you would never be able. No one would be able to see that it wasn't about race because it'd be just so shocking.
Now, we debated before we got into the subject, do we talk about it or do we not? Greg said no, Carrie said yes. I say yes only because within hours, it was probably 2 to 3 hours of the Las Vegas shooting, I started getting on the trickles of conspiracy theories. You are the conspiracy expert. Yeah. And allegedly, what's the one? Sandy Hook? Remember that one? That was probably, 5 years ago? It all runs together now. 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I want to quick say this about conspiracy.
Okay.
As much as I love them, right? And I love a good conspiracy theory. I've got some favorites. But I don't consider myself a conspiracy theory nut like everyone likes to throw out.
Just a regular garden variety.
I'm a regular garden variety nut. Yeah, you can find conspiracies in anything if you look hard enough that doesn't make it true or real.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying it was interesting to me to see it come down the pike so quickly.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't
exaggerated now. Now, when Sandy Hook came around, allegedly there were actors playing it. The people, that the kids, they were, I don't know if they're taken care of, but they're off the grid and they're being
Yeah.
raised somewhere else. And it seems kind of far-fetched. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying it's true. All I'm saying is it came up a lot sooner than it did last time. And it was interesting to me that no one person could have shot that much, and the eyewitnesses accounts were not. There was 2 shooters.
That goes to
Blah,
show you,
blah,
no matter
blah.
what happens, eyewitness account doesn't always hold salt. Can't. Because you see what you want to see. And sometimes if you're focused on one thing, you don't see what's happening over here. So you can say, oh, I only saw one guy. Where in reality, there were 3 shooters. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just
You only
saying.
see it from one angle.
You see it from your point of view. So it doesn't make you wrong. That just you didn't get the whole story.
I think people are angry, as goofy as it sounds, because the guy was not a crusader for anything.
Nope.
He was not. There was not a religious
No
organization.
motive.
As of this moment in time, they're still looking for a motive. And as of today's recording, the girlfriend has been completely compliant so far with the FBI. She landed, she came back to LAX yesterday. So she's been all day talking with the FBI. And she claimed that when she got to the Philippines, that he wired her $100,000 to buy a house for her and her family in the Philippines. And she claims that she thought that was a sign of them breaking up. So far, her story holds water if she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
So far,
That's
they
a lot
haven't.
of money, though.
So far,
What did he do?
Allegedly, he had money. They said he would play with a $1,000 hand blackjack.
Yeah, he was a big gambler.
Jeez.
Yeah, but what if? All right, so what if? What if there's no motive? What do people do with that?
No. Wait a minute now. Okay, there's got to
I'm
be.
just-
Motive. You don't
I'm
just
just
wake up
saying
in the
it's-
morning and say it was planned. How do you get 21 rifles that they find in a hotel room?
But what if his?
nobody knew?
But what if he didn't have that breaking moment for him to decide? Okay, today's the day I build my arsenal. 1 year from now, I'm going to do this heinous act. What if that never happened? Clearly, he had time to build and amass his supplies. But what if there was no breaking point that snapped in him? What if this was just an evolutionary event?
Well, then this brings up the point too. There's also been conspiracies that it wasn't him. You know, there could have been someone that framed him. I haven't read too much into that one, but
Interesting.
I don't know what you guys think about that.
Boy,
one.
I don't know. You know, you see his brother.
His
No.
brother acts awfully suspicious from my point of view, from what I've seen. His brother acts awfully suspicious. Now, I'm not saying he has anything to do with it, but he interviews very poorly. He's very snappy and quick to anger. However, I guess I can see from that point of view, if my brother did a ridiculous act, and I had camera people, well, what did you know about your brother? Did you know what he was
It's the
doing?
same thing we talked about in the
what?
last episode.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna go too far after.
Yeah. So he's probably angry about having a microphone shoved in his face all day long. But I think there's something about it that don't smell right.
It didn't smell right. I saw the brother, and he didn't seem upset enough.
Yeah, you would.
Oh, my condolences to the families. It was very.
There was none of that.
contrived.
I
There was
was
No,
none
he
of
did say
that.
that. He did say that.
Well,
He said, "What did he say? Your condolences." It's got to be online to Google somewhere.
yeah, but it wasn't. It didn't felt like it was heartfelt. And I don't. I mean, not that he has to please me, but
You don't
just
know.
something about it seemed off. I guess.
The whole thing seemed off. It took a lot to shock. I heard about it. And it's one of those things like 9/11 or very few things in between because we've been so desensitized.
Well, no, 9/11 was a big enough number to change policy. That changed the way we live in the United States. So that's a number big enough to change, to turn the ship around. Whether or not we're going in a better direction, I say no, but it was big enough to make an impact. So is this number going to have the same impact? Is it going to be good enough or big enough to start outlawing certain types of firearms? Or now there's that infamous bump stick. So it's a machine that's taken off the butt of the rifle, and this machine is added in, and it automatically, so it turns a semi-automatic. And a semi-automatic means you only get off like 1 or 2 shots at a time, right? A full automatic, you squeeze the trigger, and it's all out. So those guns are illegal, but this bump stick turns it from a semi-automatic to a full automatic because it triggers it manually. Your finger's not even, you don't even have to, your hand doesn't have to be on the trigger, this thing does it for you. So that's not illegal. So you can take a legal firearm and turn it into an illegal firearm by this particular piece of equipment. So they're in cahoots now with the NRA to try to get the NRA support to ban this bump stick. But even they're hemming and hawing. Well, now see here now, see here. So what's it gonna take? I'm baffled. I'm baffled why there's even an argument at this moment in time. No, I'm not going to go into people's houses and take your guns away. No. That's not what this is about. This is about certain types of things or machinery that you put on certain types of things to make them more deadly than they're ever supposed to be.
There's an old saying that says, a minute is it's different for depending which side of the bathroom door you're on. If you really got to go,
I got this.
Go ahead.
Here's the theory of relativity put by LL Cool J. When you put your hand on a hot woman, an hour goes by in a minute, but you put your hand in a hot plate and a minute feels like an hour.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
So my point is,
thank you, LL Cool J, if you're watching.
Cool J. I think he does watch occasionally. I think that in this particular situation, that if you had a victim that was a family member or a loved one, you'd be a lot on gun control more than the in theory. Well, I think we've got this or that. When the rubber hits the road, innocent people are dying by the thousands.
And you would have thought after all those Sandy Hook kids, they would have done something about it. Well, look at
this particular summer has been one of the most deadly in Chicago and Milwaukee. I was listening to the radio today, and the statistic come out today that Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as of the date we're recording this is October 5th, 2017. Milwaukee is the 8th deadliest city in the United States. Wow. That's insanity.
What's Chicago?
They didn't say Chicago's number.
They gotta be top
3.
Gotta be top 3, but they were more focused on Milwaukee.
Being right in the middle.
I mean, how can Milwaukee be... How did this happen? How did it happen? Some of them are saying there's a lot of transplanters, so a lot of people moved up from Chicago and they brought the violence with them. It's not like these violent acts are happening to everyday schmoes. 95% of these people knew each other. So, but does that matter anymore? Should that matter? I mean, again, I'm baffled by why there's even arguments anymore. There's got to be a better way. I don't know what that better way is. There's got to be another way.
Find something.
Because I don't even want to go to Milwaukee anymore. I don't want to get carjacked, which they're up 300% from years past. 300%. I need a car, so I'm not going to go to Milwaukee.
Greg, I've seen your car. I think you're safe.
Yeah,
I can't see the gangbangers running around in the.
I have
the muffler falling off.
Well, not only that, but I've got a pretty good anti-theft device. It's called a manual transmission. Good luck, youngsters. Sorry, no offense. But most people don't know how to drive a stick shift.
I'm gonna learn this week at my new job.
All right, I'll teach you.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Guns are scary. My dad owns a few guns. He lives in Tennessee, and I wouldn't call him a gun nut by any stretch of the imagination. He's got a couple handguns, and I actually shot him a couple years ago. There's a shooting range up in northern Racine County, and I never shot guns before. And I was excited to do it because
it's first time.
It's first time. I thought it'd be fun. He brought 3 with him. It was a little snub-nosed .38, a semi-automatic 9mm pistol, and a .357 Colt Python. Big sucker.
Dirty Harry,
yeah. So, and it's funny, and I've got the targets hanging in my garage. Anyone who's ever been in my garage can see the targets. I tried the little guns, and I could not hit the broadside of a barn. Incredibly difficult to aim, because you have this little gun, and you're trying to aim it, and this little .38 snub nose has the same kickback as a large .357, so it's difficult to aim. And I didn't know that I had my thumb in the back of the hammer, and I took a shot. The hammer went back and cracked half my thumbnail clean off. I didn't know it was going to do that.
Did you feel lucky, punk?
I didn't feel lucky.
Okay.
So I got the .357, and from 25 feet out, never shooting guns before that day, from 25 feet out, I put 5 out of 6 shots into the head of a target, clean through. And my dad's like, I don't understand. Do you have an explanation for this? I said, 2 words, Nintendo Duck Hunt. That's 3 words.
Video games.
Yeah. It's incredibly weird how, we call it desensitizing, these first-person shooter games, and most video games, let's pick on one. What's a popular world of...
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, that's what I'm
thinking.
That's
a big one.
Now, that's a very popular first-person shooter type game. So now comes the argument, that's why a lot of these kids are desensitized to gun violence, because they go home,
they play
these Call of Duty games, they get the sniper mode, and they get people, and they shoot them dead all day long. So are we desensitized too far? That's what goes back to the argument. Is 50 a big enough number? I don't know.
Got my attention. Maybe it's not.
And I'm not trying to blame video games. I'm just saying the more people that are exposed to these things, the less of an impact these types of stories are going to have. And it shouldn't be that way, because there's not a separation between video games and reality. There's 2 girls in Milwaukee right now for the Slender Man trials. You heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
I have heard about it, but for our viewers, let's
Slender Man is an online character. I don't even know how to describe. So a lot of younger folk go online and read these
Creepypastas.
creepypasta website. So there's scary, creepy stories. They turn the lights off. They read these creepy stories, and these two, HBO had a documentary, and these two in specific, and they went into the culture of these creepy websites and how people think that they're so real. So they went into the Slender Man character. The Slender Man character is about 7 foot tall, about the size of a toothpick.
Wanky. Yeah.
Kind of looks like the guy from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Halloween Jack, is that the
yeah.
fella's name? So I'm not saying he's it, but I'm saying is his character looks like him, but is a lot taller.
Very similar.
So these girls thought that they were seeing this guy everywhere, and they legitimately thought that if they did these things in reality, that they would appease this character online. They really thought that. So they got into the lives of these kids because they were videotaped since they were born. And these were normal kids, right? The parents were deeply involved with their lives. It's not as if these kids, not as if the parents didn't care, because that was the beginning of, well, where's the parents? If you watch that documentary, the parents were there the entire time. But what are you going to do? The kid's like, oh, I'm going to go to bed. Okay, good night. And that's when the creepypasta comes in. So what did you want the parents to do? Take away the walls of their house so they could see every moment of your child's life?
Yes.
Is that what...
Build a glass house.
When you were a kid, would you have wanted that? No, I like to have some alone time. Can I be alone with my thoughts or watch my own TV in my room without having to dignify or have an excuse for every time I change a channel? Nobody wants that. But I think there has to be a better education on what's real and what isn't now more so than ever. When I was a kid, it didn't matter. We had the Atari 2600. I knew that Defender and Pac-Man were not real things. Video games have clearly changed drastically over the years, and they have gotten intensely realistic.
How many times have you been in a store and seen an infant, 2, 3 years old, staring both eyes, a gaze into
a device?
Into a device.
Yep.
And they're just absolutely mesmerized. You could steal them, kidnap them, take them away from their parents.
As long as they have the device, that's all that matters.
This is not a good thing. I don't know.
And I'm not trying to say that every kid from millennials down to toddlers this moment in time is destined for failure because you can't tell realism from
I'm
fake.
saying exactly that.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying is that there's a chosen few out there who are separated enough from society because they've been on devices their entire time. They don't have a lot of social skills developed. Again, not all of them, but a certain percentage. And it's that's the percentage that you want to try to look out for. Maybe give them an extra hand. If you're the parent, say, you know what, why don't you put the tablet down for like a half hour. Let's start to slowly wean off technology. Technology is a fantastic. Without it, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't be here right now without this type of technology.
Maybe one of those people are watching right now.
So if you're a loner...
You're turning away a viewer, Greg.
After you're done watching our show, which we thank you for, why don't you, I don't know, watch TV. And if you've cast away cable, there's books.
How about read the book of Leviticus?
Yeah, great. Turn them into religious nuts. Thank you. Sorry, I mean that in a very kind way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how the nuttitude, whatever word you want to say,
so
is ramping up just as technology is ramping up.
Now, to bring this come this around full, to put the bookends together.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if the shooter turned out to be some kind of a loner and had these type of aspects. Perhaps he didn't have a lot of friends. Perhaps.
Did you see his brother?
Yeah.
They showed pictures of them.
I still haven't seen this.
There's an album called Wild-Eyed Southern Boys.
Yeah, they have a certain look. All right, look, you can't judge books by covers.
Yes,
but
you can.
This guy seemed to was a little bit of a loner. The neighbors hardly saw him. His shades were pulled all the time. So, again, that's the type. But it's easy to slip through the cracks. But if you keep to yourself, you pay your taxes, and you don't bother anybody, nobody cares. So it's super easy to fall through the cracks like that and become what this is.
The point I'm trying to make is those people were always loners. Mm-hmm. Now you wackadoo.com and you can find 5,000 people just like yourself worldwide. You think Ted Kaczynski had a wood-burning computer in there and he was finding other nuts? Yeah. I think he might have been. And there used to be the loners. I'm sure there were some. Yeah. The situation of, well, I can't. I don't have anybody like me. I have to take my own life. I can't exist. Now, if you find a community, I think a lot of times gay people would kill themselves back in the day because they didn't know how to deal with it. Now there's got to be an internet. Well, it's not. You're not the only one. You're not alone. Yeah. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being gay, but I'm saying that was a real stigma in the day.
Yeah, it's easier to find compatriots now.
Yes.
So you can talk it out. and realize that you're not alone in this battle, that you have people that can help support you to become whatever you want to become. It's irrelevant. But then through that, you can start to weed out they call the lone wolves. So maybe they're not so alone anymore. Maybe if they felt more involved in the program, they wouldn't do these things. That's my assumption, but I think it'd be a start.
And okay, the whole time we've been doing this episode, we've been talking about the numbers. And the numbers, 59 people went to this concert just for a good time and didn't think this was going to happen. No one knew it was going to happen. So it's not only the numbers, but it's the way this guy did it, too. He smashed a whole window out of the hotel.
Have you been to Las Vegas yet?
You can't break those windows. It took over 800 pounds of force to crack that window.
How do they do that? That alone mesmerized me.
That's, conspiracy. How did that happen?
Another astounding fact to me was he's on the 35th floor.
This is what I wanted to bring up.
Figure 10 feet per floor. He's up straight up around, let's call it maybe 4,000 feet. And then to shoot diagonally down from probably double that distance away, that's incredible. That he had the impact that he had being at that distance away. That boggles my mind. I now realize there are high-power weapons out there that can do that, but that's the part that kills me the whole time. It's not that what he did. I guess it was a matter of time, but from how far away he did it from boggles my mind. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that would have had the impact that it had from that kind of distance away. So that goes to show you how deadly these weapons are. That should be the telling story. Maybe if the numbers, if the casualty count isn't a big enough number, add up the bigger numbers from the basement to the floor diagonally down. Add up those numbers. That's a big whopping distance.
From the window to the wall.
Yeah, it's a big whopping distance number. So now Vegas is trying to say they want to put sensors in windows. So if somebody does break a window,
they'll know.
Security's going to know about it automatically, that they'll send someone right up to the room, because those windows are unbreakable.
How would you like to be the PR person for Vegas right now? Now, there's been conspiracy theories have thought that terrorists were going to hit Vegas for years. I heard that after...
I heard that too.
9/11, they said the same thing. Oh, the first one will probably be Vegas because...
Target Vegas.
It's decadent, and if it is the Al-Qaeda or whomever doesn't like us, that they hate our lifestyle, that's the epitome of the decadence of the Western culture.
I'm willing to bet that what's Vegas's favorite slogan? What do they say?
Welcome.
At least we're not Phoenix.
No. What happens in Vegas
stays in Vegas.
I'd be willing to bet that slogan goes away for a good long while. I think this killed that ad campaign.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because it was a fun one. I've been to Vegas a couple of times. I've never stayed at the...
Mandalay Bay.
I've never stayed at Mandalay Bay. But
it's very expensive.
It's very expensive. I've been through there a couple times. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a bummer. Vegas is a good place to go away, to get away from it all, to do whatever you want to do and be what you want to be and gamble away your life's fortunes in one hand of blackjack. If you want to, you can do that there. And I hope that this hasn't changed that. I don't always agree with everything that happens in Vegas, but I'm glad there's a place like that for it to happen.
And then wrapping what I was... Okay, we're almost done. Wrapping that up real quickly.
Our technician Adam's heart monitor balance went out, so we're going to call 911.
Stop the cheeseburgers.
Because the compound is such a secret place, the ambulance can't find us. So.
Wrapping that up real quickly.
How to get all of this? We're talking about the Vegas. It's a tragedy. It is a tragedy.
Oh, so I thought originally he was in the crowd. And I didn't know that it was otherwise because I found that information so incredible and unbelievable.
Yeah, as far as height and distance away.
Well, another thing we hear is first it's 10 minutes, then it's 4.5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, there's been a big discrepancy on how long the shooting went.
Well, you got to get
11 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to put the cell phone data together because all that stuff is usually timed recording. So that's going to take a couple days to sift through everyone who had a cell phone that day.
I don't think
everybody did.
I don't think it was wrong for anyone to take videos too. That's footage. That's documentation.
You got to count on that nowadays.
Yeah.
I think whatever cell phone camera took the best video. I hate to say that, but you could probably use this as an ad campaign, or not necessarily an ad campaign, but a way to further your own personal handheld devices. Look at our phones took the best film, the best video that day.
There were quite a few.
We can now use that as a selling point. So say it was the Galaxy. Probably wasn't. It's probably an iPhone.
Galaxy's
it's probably a flip phone.
Yes, the old flip-o-matic phone. But how can you make it better? And you hope that another event like this doesn't happen. But in case it does, of all the shots that they had at Mandalay Bay, you don't see any smoke and fire coming out of one of the windows.
No.
What if he could? That would eliminate
There might be
half the
one out
conspiracy
there.
theories. Yeah, see, this is still so early in the investigation. There might be a lot of things that have yet to
We
come to
can-
light
we'll
because
come
it is
back
still
to
an
it.
active investigation.
This is not in the books. The cement is still wet because
Yeah.
events like this have happened. If we talked about 9/11 the week that it happened, I'm sure we'd have a different perspective all these years
Completely, yeah.
later. So we wanted to put it in there. And again, we're
Yeah.
sorry for all the victims and the people in the family.
But
Well,
it's
this,
part
is
of-
in, this is in the archive now. We can always come back.
Yeah.
But this is part of culture, and I know that this isn't our mainstay of what we do. We usually don't go too political, but it's hard to ignore an event of this magnitude.
one of the
Really
biggest,
your draw.
one of the biggest ones I can remember in a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
We gotta fly, Al. Plug your ears. It's not always like this on Earth. There are good things too. My name is Dobie Maxwell. Greg DeGuire is here. This is Carrie Turner on Millennial Falcon. You can get a hold of us. How, Carrie?
We have our tinfoiltalkshow@gmail.com, and then we have the Mothership Connection fan page, and then the Gregory DeGuire friend page, and we'll put the links below.
In the words of George Dr. Funkenstein Clinton, think it ain't illegal yet. Put the guns down. Pick up the mothership. More episodes coming your way. Thanks for watching.